In the video that you're about to see, I go through the process of winterizing two of my full-size Layens hives, and I also check in on some of the nucleus size Layens hives that I have colonies in. This winterization process involves removing, assessing how much honey and other resources each colony has, and removing the excess. And the reason for doing that is during this time of year, as the colony size the population has decreased, there's often a lot of excess comb in the hive and not enough population to defend it from small hive beetles and wax moths that are trying to lay eggs there. And so if they have too much surface area to defend and not enough population to defend, you can end up with an infestation that will kill the colony either in the late fall, in the early fall, or in the early spring. And so to prevent that, we try to make sure that we leave enough honey. And the way we do that with the Layens hives is we identify where the brood nest is. And in the examples you'll see, I dealt with two 14-frame hives, and they each had between 3 and 4 frames of brood. So that's the brood nest, and that's where the colony will cluster. And at the top of those frames, there's usually a band of about 2 to 3 inches of honey stored at the top of those frames. So they'll cluster, and then through the winter, they'll move up as they consume that honey. And that's usually enough to last them through the winter. But at the end of winter, as the temperatures start to rise and the queen starts to lay, and now you've got brood that needs to be fed, and there's not a lot of flowers out yet, they need some additional resources. And so we try to leave, depending on the size of the colony, 1 to 2 frames of honey or honey mixed with pollen on the front end and the back end of the brood nest. And if they've got that, that's all they need. And so the other frames can be removed, concentrating the population of the hive on down onto the brood frames and the resource frames. And then we bring a divider board in to limit the size of the colony. And that makes makes them a little safer from infestation of pests like wax moths and small hive beetles. So I did that on the 2 colonies, and then I also checked in on the nucleus-sized colonies. Those colonies are all quite small. They're from colonies where I did removals from water meters and such fairly late in the year. And so I'm going to try to give them some insulation from the cold, but and maybe some extra honey, but that's about all I'm going to be able to do for them right now because of the state. They've got cross combing and they're just still trying to get established on those frames, so I didn't want to disturb them too much. I acknowledge some mistakes in the video. Also, the audio quality is terrible, and I'm sorry for that. The microphones that I sometimes use out there, I had been traveling, and they were still with my travel gear. I didn't realize that I got out to the apiary without them. So forgive me about the sound. I hope you can hear what you need to hear. The mistakes that I said I acknowledge, I realized that I left an empty space in one of the nucleus colonies, and I'm going to go back and fill that with a honey frame to help them get through the winter. And the other thing was that I do think that I caused a little bit of robbing activity. It didn't seem to be a full-on, raid, We did have some rain that was coming into the area to hopefully calm them down. Also, I think evening was approaching, and so there wouldn't have been too much longer for it to continue. And so instead of worrying unduly about that, I just tried to get the hives closed up, and the entrances were all sized so that I believe each colony could defend itself once the hives were closed. And so that's how I dealt with that. So enjoy the video, and I do have to do the same process with 8 more full-size Layens hives that I'll get to at the end of this weekend, and so hopefully I'll be able to record that, ideally with a microphone. I may have some guests in the apiary seeing what beekeeping is like, and I hopefully will be able to record them as well, and should have an even more substantial harvest there. So look for that video coming up probably in about a week or two. Okay, I've got Nan at the hives with me today, and we're going to be winterizing the hives at least to some degree today. I pulled one frame that's hasn't been in use. We're going to take that away because they're having some hive beetles. The second frame, it's capped honey, and I am going to be prepared to take this one away as well, depending on what else I find. I'm trying to shake the bees off of it. Most of them. I may brush a few. Yeah, so I've got the brush here, so we'll brush the remainder off. And we can add this back in if I don't find enough other stores of honey for them to make it through winter. But for now, we'll take that out, possibly harvest it. All right. That would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was frame 11. Frame 12 was the one that was undeveloped. All right, so now we're looking at frame 10. What I'm going to be doing is continuing to remove frames until I find the brood nest. So this one, this is the last. You can see it's brood, a little bit of brood. It's being backfilled with honey. I see one seem to be emerging. See it? So we've got one bee emerging right now. But most of this is resources. So I will probably leave this one for them, at least provisionally for the moment. I'm going to set this back in. What I'm expecting to find is a more concentrated brood nest with probably 3 or 4 frames as we work our way in. So now we're on frame 9. This one is a partial frame, and it's all honey. So this may be one that I leave for them, but for now, I know I really need to take this one and harvest it, because this is one that has no support. And so what I need to do is put another support in for it, a dowel, probably a horizontal dowel. So I'm going to hope to find a better one to leave for them for the winter. In fact, this next one is going to be it. So this is honey
at least on the side that I can see. And this is 8. What I'm aiming to do is to leave at least one full frame of honey on each end of the brood nest, and to make sure that they've got about 3 inches of honey on the top. All right, this is almost entirely capped honey. There's a little bit that they seem to be adding, and this side is uncapped nectar, but there's still a lot there for them. See, this is going to be one end of their colony, and I've got this other one that is going to be the other. So now we're looking at 7. We've got these glued in tightly. I've been out of the country for 3 weeks and didn't have time to visit the hives, really not much, since about August. So this one is stores. There's no brood here. I'm going to shake those bees off. There's not any buzzing in, are there? No. Brush the last few here. A lot of this is uncapped. So if there's any that needs to, if I find any that are low on stores, I'll give them that frame rather than another. But I don't want to leave it in here as one of the brackets for the brood nest. I may leave it on the outside perhaps, since I don't want to harvest that one because it's likely to be too high in water content. All right, so now we're on 6. Another partial frame. It's all honey on both sides. To brush some off of this one. I think it's just cool enough that they're not wanting to fly much, so they're being pretty docile.
That's pretty.
What?
But that's pretty.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm wondering, where are the brood? So this one is 5. More honey. For now, I'm going to take this one and assume I might put it back. 4, on this side at least, looks to mostly be honey. Okay, this is the first of the brood nest. Get that brood both sides, and it's clearly where they're clustering. So I'm going to set that one back down. The next one is also brood. So I'm not even going to lift it out. I'm just going to of you?
When I sit back, they were when I was up closer.
This is frame over. And it is mostly pollen and probably a little bit of honey. So, I'm going to leave this one at the entrance, because when they start the spring growth, they're going to typically start, you want the pollen near the brood nest. So we've got 3 frames of brood, and then I'm going to put, so we're going to start with the one that has a lot of pollen, and then I'm going to put one that has a lot of honey. And these will be their spring reserves. So the idea on the Layens hives is they typically will have all of their, now they're after me now that I've gotten into the brood nest. They typically will have all of the honey that they need above the brood frames to get through the winter. But the reason we give them stores on the ends is to get them through the early spring growth when it's active enough that the queen is laying, but before there are a lot of flowers for them to harvest. So now we have 2 resource frames, 3 brood frames, or maybe it was 4, and then another food resource here. So I'm going to slide it back. And a final food resource here. And then we'll move the divider board. And get it seated all the way down there. Okay. And then would you grab one of the pillows out of the back of the checking the entrance. They have about a 2-inch entrance, which is about right. All right. So we have here a pillowcase that was filled with alpaca wool. And we're just going to lay it here over the top. almost finished. Now we're going to turn our attention to this one, making sure this entrance was for ventilation on this side. This one is open about 2 inches. They've largely propylized that one, so it's closed. They did that, not me. So I trust them. Alright, this one has some insulation in the lid already, so I won't use a pillow for them. We had a full set of frames. Of course, some of them I'm pretty sure will not be, they won't need them over the winter, so we'll take some of these frames out just as we did with the other one. Alright, so we're going to start here on frame 14. And they haven't really developed anything on it yet, so just take it away from them. Frame 13 is going to be pretty much the same. A little bit of cone. Alright, frame 12, we have some honey. What's there is capped. It's not a full frame, so that actually makes a good candidate to harvest. Oh, and this also is one that I need to take because it doesn't have any support for the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 11. Same thing. There's no horizontal or vertical support. It's honey. It's capped. So this would be a good one to harvest. Where are you buzzing? This will be in this area anywhere. I don't hear it now, so maybe it's gone. Okay, so this is frame 10. Just a little more smoke. I think I've got one caught up in my sweatshirt or caught up in the veil or something. Alright. Another partial frame of sealed honey. I can harvest it unless one of my hives seems to need some extra honey. Okay, I don't hear it right now either. Wow. We have a nice little harvest. All Alright, this next one looks like it's probably going to be a good resource frame for them. Full of honey from top to bottom. A good frame to leave on the end of the brood nest. And that is, oh man, that's heavy. Heavy with honey. Solid honey, both sides. That's going to be their springtime reserve. And I think the next one may be just like it. Yep. Solid honey, capped. Some uncapped nectar on this side, but that also would make a very fine spring reserve for them. All right, now 2, 4, 6, this is 7. No brood yet. This is more honey. That could also make a good end frame either for this one or for another. This is frame 6. Lots of nectar, both sides. A little bit of honey, but mostly nectar. Right? Okay. Alright, this is frame 5. There we have brood. I'm not going to lift them out more than that. They've got honey at the top. Brood on both sides. So this is frame 5. Also lots of brood with the honey reserve on top. That one, I'm going to close this up quickly because I don't want to create robbing. So, we've got honey resources on 1, 2, and 3, brood on 4 and 5, and then we'll close it with 2 frames of honey resources. 7 and 8. I'm going to take this frame of honey. This frame of honey. do not have with me a divider board. So I need to make a note that this colony needs a divider board as soon as possible. Alright, now I'm going to put some of these frames over there in the truck. Reduce the food refrigerator. I went to put some unused frames in the truck and found that I may actually have a divider board. Let's see if it's cut to the right size. I think these are all a little on the large size. A little on the large side, so but we'll see how close we can get. Okay. It's not a perfect divider, but it's better than nothing. Now we'll close them up. Okay, now we're ready to start on these. They're smaller colonies, and I doubt that I'll have as much to remove from them. I just want to see what we have at this point in the season. I may need to take some of the honey that I took from these other colonies and share it here. We'll have to see how that goes. Now it's starting to rain. Alright, so this one, I had a feeder in it. Oh, they need a little puff of smoke. Take the feeder out. I don't need it right now unless I fill it with dry sugar. This is going to be a real small colony. It may be that I should combine a couple of them here. Decide to combine this one, it's just going to be, I'll try to give them an insulated shell on the outside, but they're just going to have to see if they can make it on their own. This was my second newest colony. It was from probably a water meter removal late in the year. I'm just going to leave them and see how they do. And this one is similar. Late in the year. See how they've done. they've got a comb with nothing really. This came from their old hive. There's bees on it, but there's no resources, no brood. I'm going to give them instead one of the combs with honey. So I've got this one that I'm going to give them in place of that frame that I just took away from them. Looks like the smoker may need some more fuel. Okay, I'm going to try to move through this quickly. See a little bit of brood, more brood on the next one. Oh, one of them got through my glove. Oh well. I've seen 2 frames of brood. The girls are spicy. There may be a little bit of robbing going on. So I'm just going to give them this frame of honey. Close them back up. And I'm going to try to make an insulated foam board sleeve for this hive. The ones from the white box will settle down a little bit. They got me twice. Once through the glove and once through the hat. I didn't think they'd be able to do that. Take a quick look at what we've got they're still cross-combed enough that I'm not going to be able to do anything much for them. So I'm just going to cover them up, and I'll try to make a sleeve to help with some insulation on this box and see how they do. Alright, so I'm going to take the feeder. Okay, so that's going to be all for today.
And that was our process. We there dealt with 2 full-size Layens hives and 3 nucleus-sized Layens hives. Subsequently, I did go and do 1 other full-size hive, and between the 3 full-size hives, I probably, if I recall correctly, it was probably about 7 frames that were either fully or partially filled with honey. And so I'll be, some of those I may give back to the nucleus colonies to keep them going. I may store 1 or 2 for spring to help out any that are falling short of resources. But most of them I think I'll be able to extract for my fall honey harvest. Thank you for watching.